Welcome back to Building Remnant. In our last episode, what did we do last episode? We did summons. So this time I had said we were going to do a build. I don't play it often, just because I'm a terrible shot when it comes to one-shot weapons, and I don't like the double tap for the scope thing. It, it bugs me. So, the idea of the build I have here, specifically I made it this way because the firearms, but we're using the Slayer, which has the Assassin bonus, so reloading increases the total damage dealt to the next enemy hit with that weapon. Last 10 seconds, and it gives you some reload speed. Now, what I've done off of that is I've combined that with the Grim Coil, so reloading a weapon after dealing at least 40% of the base damage from a single magazine increases damage by 7% for 20 seconds, stacks 3 times. So as long as I can stay on targets, then I can keep a damage increase going, allowing me to clear a room. So what I've done is I've stacked the Ring of Shadows with the Stalker's brand, so this will reduce enemy awareness by 25 and 15, giving me 40% enemy awareness range reduction, so I can stay hidden. Also, the Stalker's band reduces firearm sound. Also, while I'm crouched, you get a little movement speed, but it's not that great. Also, you get 15% extra damage against non-aggressive enemies. So if they don't know I'm here, big number. Again, it's just because they don't know you're there. The enemy awareness is really what does it, because that should have alerted him me missing like that. But again, they can't hear the gun as far enough away. So this is pretty much a sneak attack build. I don't know if I can get through the rungs. Yep, there's the issue. If you don't get that critical, best be ready. Either weapon swap or compensate some other way. But doing it like this just keeps raising the damage. And of course you can also add a little bit of critical, but no survivability, hence why I went ahead and took this. Just to give me a little bit, you know, breathing room, pretty much. But if you like your big numbers from afar, this is a build for you. Sadly, for anybody with OCD, I'm not gonna get that right now, I don't think. It requires a lot of setup to go get. I mean, I'd have to go find the Iskall Queen, make sure that I had the Parasite on me. Now, even though it is quite possible to follow up, it's not the... I don't suggest it highly, let's put it that way. I see you. Especially when stuff like that happens. But other than the, you know, low survivability, you just have to rely on items. But it's really not that bad, because as long as you're a far enough distance away with this setup, they never hear you coming in any way, shape, or form. Oh, well, we got Abrasive Amulet. Alright. Now, another way, if you were, you know, not worried about staying quiet, I suggest taking the Gunslinger's Charm, because the fire rate's not going to mean much, but that 20% reload speed is going to be quite useful. Several different things you could do here. Again, since we're not worried about fire rate, I would take the Empowering Loop, because you're going to want to get as much range damage as you can, and then we're just going to end up stacking more range damage with the Grim Coil and the Slayer. Might want to take a little health here, though. So again, if you're not trying to stay quiet, or completely the other side of this, take the silent weapons, even though they don't have as good enough, or as good range as the other two. Where was that? Red Walker. Hunter's Mark. But again, you know, staying quiet this way is an option, but just not as good of damage.
How's that, you bastard?
Still, very plausible. And again, you can get all the reload benefits from it, if done right. And then you can get those big numbers working for you too. Personally, as much as the crossbow is nice, I prefer myself a ricochet rifle. Not as powerful in straight up damage, but the crowd control potential is phenomenal. Like I don't think they're standing close enough together. Hey, we're not. How about now? There you go. I'm not sure what saw me. Ah, there he is. Really? I thought you'd have been dead from that. So many dodges are necessary right now. Better aim is necessary too. But with the ricochet rifle, again, you saw I missed. And it still ended up... Oof. Coming back and giving him a bite. But you can see between the range damage and kills how much damage I ended up doing up to that. Yeah, that was also a critical, mind you. Don't run. But again, this armor set's mainly useful for guns that need high reload. You know, single shot weapons or the low shot shotguns. So take your sawn off and your coach gun, give them a little bit of reload speed, and take their damage potentials through the roof. I'm not entirely sure. Yep. And again, one of the easiest things to do here, you know, if you're trying to stay quiet and out of the way, and really, did you auto-aim to him? That's funny. But one of the reasons I don't like taking it is for the fact that eventually it's going to get loud. You can't stay stealth in this game for very long, because things always pop off eventually. Oh, did you survive? Well, he was faster than I anticipated. Always, always, always pick it up if you see it. It is uber rare and uber useful late game. So that's pretty much the gist of the Slayer. Again, I don't like it because relies heavy on the dodge. It's got medium armor, so it's not the worst on if you need to or do end up taking a hit, but I think it has too many moving parts because I don't get the damage buff until I've reloaded and hit a few other enemies. You know, I prefer to have something more constant. But if you're playing with other people, especially if you've got somebody who's, you know, in one of my patented Undying Paladin setups, or at least something akin to it, and they're more, you know, running aggression, so everything comes to them, then that's a huge possibility for a build like this, especially if you were still on the Stalkers version of it, because then they're paying even less attention to you, gives you more damage to deal in the background, giving you more survivability. Is this the grotto? Because I do not want to do the grotto. Mm-hmm. I don't like the twins. Now, I had said before about doing elemental builds, and again, I don't think I really need to. For one, I'm going to state this. Corrosive and bleed builds are not elemental, and I'll explain why. Corrosive is a debuff, and even though there are things that do corrosive damage, um, you can only get so much out of boosting it because your melee attacks can have corrosion, but there's nothing that will boost the damage for it. Whereas if you look at your fire damage with the charcoal necklace, it gives more burning damage, as well as more fire damage. You look at the cold builds, the ice builds, they don't have damage increase, but they increase the frostbite. So it's really good as, you know, if you have a team and you're playing frostbite for support because you can slow down enemies. It's not damage dealing. Radioactive Ember, it increases your radiation damage by 15%, but also gives basic weapons that have no element radiation damage, increasing their damage. And the last one would be the Storm Amulet, so shock damage is increased, and weapon mods that inflict shock damage are increased. So you don't get anything that increases... you do have things that increase bleed damage, but bleeding damage is considered melee, which I've demonstrated with the Osseous set. So that's why I don't consider it an elemental, because it's not mod damage. It's not an elemental as itself. It's not fire, lightning, what have you. So, yeah. The thing that I'm pretty much getting to is they build themselves when it comes to it. All you need is to have the necklace that corresponds with the element you're going for. If I was going to be using an element against the twins, it'd probably be fire. So, we'll try it. You'll see me die, but we'll try it. When it comes to elemental builds, if you're trying to boost the elemental damage, you only have one option, and that is the Prismatic Diamond. Now, mind you, this has one benefit. If you're trying to use something like the Alternator, its regular fire is ice damage, but its mod damage is fire. So that gives me 10% better ice damage as well as 25% better fire damage. So that's where this is going to come in handy. If we're going fire, I need something that can charge fast. I would say take the Spitfire, but it does not have, or at least its mod will not have the range that I'm looking for. I don't think, actually, if it can reach them. We'll give it a shot. And just for, you know, sake of matching build. Now, this is also the main downer is, you know, I'm not entirely sure how to supplement this, because again, those are the things that are going to give you damage. So you could always go with mod generation or something of that kind. Right now, I'm trying to think of something that will give me a bit of survivability, and I can't think of nothing. Yeah, there's really... I also just dislike this fight. It is one of my least favorites. I have nothing to heal. Yeah, the only thing I'd be able to do is Blood Font, and that's not going to save me. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to take the Burden of the Follower. I mean, yeah, we're going to take that hit to fire rate. And since most of this is going to be mod damage, that pretty much just leaves one option. So again, I do not suggest this personally, just because they're good, but you could do better. You know what I mean? Honestly, if just for my own personal benefit, because this is one of those fights I'm probably gonna dodge more than I attack. So, we make our attacks, what am I doing? If we make our attacks the mods themselves. Now, first things first, when it comes to these twins, they want you to focus on the one they introduce you to. But again, there's two of them, and one of them's in the back of the room, still in a cocoon. You damage the cocoon before he comes out, and it'll take part of his health bar away. I didn't know that for, I'm gonna say 2 weeks of playing this game, and then someone showed me. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna deal damage that away and run. It still was too close. Now, I was correct. They do not get close enough for that. But still, great fire damage. So, pop one of these real quick. That was not a good idea. Now, this is one of the better mods to face them with. Just because even though it has a wide spread, they are a large target. Oh, and he knocked me off. So, it is very plausible. I'm just not that good. I'll be honest about it. I can't juggle both these guys without some kind of survivability buffer. So, excuse me. My suggested build to take these guys down. I'm going to take my favorite weapons. That one's Nope. We're going to take the hero sword. We're going to go for the warlord, even though normally I don't like trying to go for a suicidal build. What we're going to do... we're going to take a Razor Stone to give us the bleed damage we need. Let's take a Vulcan's Detonator. There. What am I missing? Oh yes, I need Band of Discord to offset the Death Wish's life drain. Actually gonna make this the Hive Cannon for the explosive, and then lastly throw in a Swarm. So that gives me fire, that gives me bleed, a little bit of corrosion to make them do more damages. But the whole point here is I just want to have that background healing effect of everything that the dots are going to do. You know, get that damage over town running, have it heal me while I'm getting beaten up. So first things first. Take that. Now be careful using these cloud moves on them because they like to move a lot. Oh, come on. Oop, wrong one. Run this way. Yeah. So it gave me the survivability I needed. And gave me all the damage boost buffs as well. But like I've said in previous videos, not every build is going to be built for every boss. There's definitely... At least in solo play, there's a big need for switching builds per boss. You know, if you want to do the best, and that's like guaranteed necessary on apocalyptic because you're going to need every advantage you can get against every boss. Now, if you're just trying to play with your buds on hard like I'm demonstrating, then it would have been very easy for me to take whatever build I wanted in. Like I'm saying, I don't think that the elemental builds are strong. It's not impossible, again, if it's what you want to do. But where I see elemental builds excelling, okay, is have everybody do one element. And as per one element, I mean have somebody be fire and somebody be lightning, because those are your DPS. And then have somebody be your frost and your corrosion so that they get debuffed as well as slowed down. The DPS that they do goes down because they're moving slower. The DPS that you do goes up because they are corroded. Excuse me. And then finally, having the fire in the background and having the lightning with its increased damages and explosions. You know, even better, if you ask me, have somebody else do bleed and have your lightning be a Vulcan's detonator build. That way, there's fire in the background as well. You know, it's all possible. That's where I see it excelling. If you were to do elemental builds, just have like a team of guys get together with 3 different elements, and then go about. But yeah, I'm fairly certain that that's all I can really show you. I mean, I've gone over a lot of the classic builds, or at least my take on them. So I guess I'm moving on to the next series. I hope that you enjoyed this series where building is more important than breaking, you know. But I hope that it was informative, you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.